Welcome to Talking Horses. Craig Wolf, Sarah El-Badwi. You've been gone, right?
I have been.
How was
yes.
your time off?
It was all right. It feels like never enough and yet too much all at the same time. But excited to be back and looking forward to today's racing as well as Cigar Mile.
Yes. And Mute Mile, we just saw
Yes.
Andy was in the office with his luggage on the way to the airport heading to Jamaica.
Yeah, rare sighting.
Did you get to say bye?
I didn't, unfortunately.
So, yeah, we'll see him on Saturday afternoon coming up. We're going to get into rescheduled card, or card getting back to action, I should say, with Sunday canceled. So we have the Pick 6 carryover that begins today, just shy of $80,000 that begins in race 3 coming up. Let's get through all the business first, then we'll get to the opening race on the card. How to play the Pick 6 today. First off, right there, $200 sign-up bonus. It says bonus 200, right? Yes.
It does indeed.
Naira Bets is how you can play it. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. You scan that QR code and you're good to go. Carryover, as mentioned today, just short of 80 grand, begins in race 3. And we will talk through that sequence on the air a little bit, but certainly going to dive deep here this afternoon. A couple of big scratches, too, in terms of the Pick 6. Friday contests. $40 buy-in. Can you read the rest of it for me? Thanks.
Man, you're really testing my eyesight. Cash and seat prizes to a $300 Saturday contest. You can register now if you head on over to nairabets.com/contests.
All right, yeah, I can't wear contacts until Saturday.
Do you have done something cool?
No, I had an issue with my eye.
Oh,
And
that's
I'm
the
putting
worst.
medicine in my
If
eye.
anybody is sympathetic to eye stuff, I hear you on that.
10% exacta bonus on exactas at Aqueduct. Got to opt in for that at Naira Bets. And loyalty points, 10 times loyalty points on Gulfstream, any race at Gulfstream. Another one you got to opt in for. And our show today, I'll be on early to kick it off. 12:30 to 4:30 on Fox Sports 2. What's your story today?
My story?
On air?
This is it.
Just Talking Horses.
Special appearance just for
Okay.
you. Well, then behind the scenes, but this is it for TV.
You're still a key part of the production.
That's what they tell me.
All right, let's get into it. Race 1 begins with this maiden special weight, 7 furlongs to kick things off for these fillies and mares 3 and up. And I'll let you start.
Yeah, I think that the horse to beat in here is down towards the inside. We do have a first-time starter for Todd Pletcher in Waveless, but taking a look at Relevate, a horse who is getting back to the dirt, I just thought that this one made sense coming in off the start on a day where you really wanted to save ground and be towards the inside on October 3rd. You can see this horse breaking towards the outside, showing that good early speed.
It didn't even break great. Still got the lead.
I agree. And the horse that was able to end up winning here and by an exaggerated margin kept this one at least a path off the rail for most of the race up until this point. That ends up being Philly Freedom, who wins by quite a bit, doesn't disgrace herself, and running a similar figure in the Mother Goose next out. We saw Met Farda come out of this race and win with a buyer in the 70s, something more reminiscent of her first race when she was finishing second to Delightful Claire. And while she does get over to the good part of the racetrack at this point, it just seems like it was a horse who needed that first start, showed good early speed, and was not with where you wanted to be on the track to start out the race. So just of those with experience, it seems as though she might be meeting a softer group.
I love Ken McPeak with Daredevil fillies.
Yeah. Swiss Skydiver comes to
Yes, yeah, for this owner too. This one, Timeform US has the 3 could be somewhat quick. I think the 1 is the speed of the speed in here, and for some reason the 4 they have ahead of the 1. I don't see in what world that happens.
I agree.
I think Relevate is in front, does get the lead, is super quick as we just saw in that debut dirt race. It's always tough to win at a mile. That is a tough ask first time out, so I don't fault that defeat in the debut. And I love the fact too that there's a 3 furlong bullet drill to sharpen this one up, getting back to dirt, which I think is a big tell that we're going to see this one try and fire out of there and get to the front. I think she goes gate to wire. I think she's very tough in this spot. Philly Freedom obviously was very good in that race. And you look at, as you said, some of the others, Waveless, now going to try and go 7/8 in a debut. Did have Dan produce one who was grade 3 placed against Explora. Did have an 8-time winner named John the Bear, who's, not big races, but was okay. But I love the experience of Relevate, like how this one is drawn. I think she's the quick of the quick, and, yeah, I'm going to wind up there, and she's probably going to be a short price.
Yeah, I think she's just been facing some horses that might be a little bit tougher than what she runs into today.
Having said that, Formaggio, that race against Amarth at Keeneland back as a 2-year-old. I mean, Amarth came back, was second in the Busher, and then actually came back and ran a very good race, so much so that they put it for maiden 30, and now they're saying, uh-oh, we made a mistake, we got away with it.
Yeah, I mean, this horse not claimed wet track last time, and she does have that race to go back to. It's just that she has the one race to go back to, whereas maybe she's one that's had a little bit more exposure at this point relative to a horse like Relevate.
All right, race 2. Early pick 4 starts in this one, another maiden special weight at a mile for 3-year-olds and up, and we've gone different directions here. You've gone to Roger. I do think Roger is interesting and a bullet work coming in.
Yeah, this one switching over to the Amelia Green Barn, a horse who does come out of the same race as a couple of others in here, Time to Win, Salvation, and Love 'em or Liam. Roger ends up being a horse that's off a little bit slowly from the gate in there. That was, again, the day that Dettori rode that gold rail that we took a look at on October 3rd. You're highlighting Time to Win, a horse who ends up breaking slowly in here, ends up being further back than they likely intended. And this is one where this horse makes plenty of sense coming into this spot as a horse who ends up coming in here where you've already seen.
Did you want to jump to this
already? We can jump to this now. I'm on the fly.
That's fine.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, this horse ran fine in this start. The blinkers are on here, and the blinkers are coming off now.
This horse hung so. I understand the bad start. Every opportunity to get by Salvation, and blinkers off maybe solves that problem. I just couldn't. That was a massive hang job, don't you think?
I think so. And look, I wanted to go in a different direction because I thought Roger was just as against the racetrack as some of the horses that exit that same Dettori race. Salvation was very much so with the racetrack, I thought, saving a lot of ground. I thought the margin between the two of them at the finish in that October 3rd start was not enough for the disparity in morning line odds for me to take a horse like Salvation over this one, and then Time to Win just ended up being one that I didn't fully trust coming into this spot. So I thought that Roger against the racetrack the whole way, and also was one that made that big move on the turn before
I did like that move, yeah.
So this horse has showed a little bit of run while being fully against the track the entire way. Maybe this horse just isn't quite as talented as some of the others in the race, but I thought a legitimate excuse for that start.
Yeah. Look, and maybe the equipment change for Time to Win does solve that issue. I just don't like the fact this horse couldn't even get by Salvation with the entire length of the stretch to do it. I thought that was a big move forward for Salvation, and I think there's more room to grow. This horse took a big step forward, second back off a fairly short layoff. Today's third off the bench. Life and Times that won that race ran huge that day. And I like the fact that Lizcano is back aboard. From a couple of starts ago, but I think if there's a bit of a forward move that there can be third off the bench, this one's going to be tough. And not just that the 3 had hung a little bit, this one dug in, and give this one a little bit of credit to hold that one off. And Linda Rice, monster start to this meet, so she is moving horses forward as usual.
Absolutely. Agree with that completely. I thought this one was with racetrack, but that race last time can't take anything away from Salvation.
Did you think? The 6 at all for you?
I thought about this horse a little bit. I ultimately wanted to go somewhere else, but I thought that the 2-year-old races that this one was in, with some progressive improvement.
They were tough, yeah. Jonathan's Way.
And now coming second off of the layoff and staying back over to the dirt and going around of ground for this horse, this one could be a price that you want to throw in there somewhere.
Yeah, that's the much bigger price of the Mott runners in that spot. It's got Love 'em or Liam as well. Pick 6 starts, in race 3. And there's that number, $79,410 after we did not get to run on Sunday. So it happens here. 6 furlong sprint, $30,000 claiming race for non-winners of 2 life. Got to start, I guess, with Shadow Surge. And we'll show that race with Spirit Dragon in here. Went up to way too tough, I felt, last time out, and did have some issues in that race where the horse wound up dropping all the way back to last. But I think a horse controls from this spot in here and was well clear enough of Spirit Dragon, where I did like that race from Spirit Dragon, who off about a 6-month layoff, ran a good effort, could certainly improve. But everyone's going to kind of be in chase mode with this horse, aren't they?
I thought so too. And look, this horse did not get to establish that early forward position in that last spot against Tougher. As you mentioned, was favored. The note says steady and I'm tired, but I think it's more that this horse was not able to show that same kind of early speed
Yeah.
that we were accustomed to seeing in some of those starts prior to, where this horse was able to win on the front end when breaking the maiden and then run just as well, I thought, when finishing second in that start that we just took a look at. So with a cleaner start and getting that forward position in here, I thought that this one would just be very tough and still had that edge over a horse like Spirit Dragon, though we'll see if McDiesel tries to show any speed towards the inside as well.
And yeah, again, for Spirit Dragon, hadn't raced since late June, comes back in that Shadow Surge race November 1st, and took a big move forward. Still very lightly raced, so there is room to move forward and gets that cozy outside pace. But absolutely, if you're playing multi-race tickets, would you want both, or you feel confident enough with the speed here?
I I don't ever necessarily want a single to start, but at least there's always the late pick 5 if need be to run something back. I wouldn't use any more than 2. I'll say that because
Okay.
everybody else, we've seen enough.
Then
of
you're
in
guessing a
this
bit,
spot. Yeah. I'd want more coverage than just a couple more.
All right,
if
let's
that
do. We'll do
is the
race 4 and then we'll
case.
take a break. Race 4 starts the late pick 5. 7 furlongs, allowance optional claiming race in a huge scratch with Acoustic Ave coming out of this spot. I guess start with who one we have both on top here. Light the way.
Yeah, this horse is just one that stays in for Linda Rice. Acoustic Ave will be running this coming Saturday instead. He entered in that Elite Power Stakes, a horse who's been in great form. But Light the Way was able to get the victory 2 starts back, a horse who then stepped up, set the pace, and ultimately tired to 4th in that 49er. He's been in some tough spots where he's still run credibly, I thought, and I think that he's one that's really kept his form since the spring. We've seen him when he's run against horses that he can be competitive against. He's shown up and really been successful, even a race where he didn't establish the lead and still ran well, finishing behind Baby Yoda. I thought he's just one that's been very determined and I thought progressively improving, so much so that Linda Rice thought enough of him to try him in some of these tougher graded stakes spots. And I don't think he's run necessarily poorly against some much tougher horses than he's going to be running against today. I thought Over and Ollie was interesting after losing the rider, but that one ended up scratching, so I scratched into Light the Way.
Yeah, I mean, Light the Way just faced so much tougher company. I mean, the 49er, even the Vosburg, where the horse ran very good, that race demolishes, I think, this field. It's not even close in terms of company kept. And 2, 3, 4 races back, and one of those was the Grade 3 Vosburg. All those races beat this group. I did think Breslau, we could show that race now with Breslau and Acoustic Ave, who obviously is gone. And, I put the start in here, which good, we don't need to see because Acoustic Ave had the poor start, not going to run. But Breslau did battle out with Acoustic Ave, but who had that big excuse with the poor start. But this horse at least is sort of going the right way and has paired up back-to-back figures that at least put him in contention, I felt like, with Light the Way. I just think it's a very tough ask because that horse is so sharp right now.
And I think last time was the time for this horse, with Acoustic Avenue having that unfortunate trip with some difficulties at the start, as you mentioned. You could say that he ran the best race in there while finishing second. Breslau, though, hung on in between horses while being forward in that spot. You can't hold it against him. It's just that you got a much better price last time on this horse, and I think he's running into some quality competition yet again today.
Yeah, and I like the way quick early, but I also feel like doesn't have to have the lead either.
It seems like he might not be one-dimensional, so I totally agree with that. And then it just seems like, where else do you really want to go in here with some horses that we haven't seen on this surface ever or in quite some time?
Yeah. All right, that'll start the late pick 5. We'll take a break, and we'll come back with the late pick 4.
You bet with Naira Bets. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Download the Naira Bets app to play today and get a $200 deposit bonus. Watch live horse racing, get expert picks, boost your bankroll with weekly promotions, and hone your handicapping skills with exclusive tips and tutorials. Download the Naira Bets app now. Sign up now to claim your $200 deposit match bonus. You bet with Naira Bets.
Back to talking horses, back to talk the late pick 4 and race 5, 6 furlong sprint. New York Preds, maiden special weight in this spot. And wow, just a horse that is, first of all, let's talk about the huge scratch real quick. Red Velvet Cake coming out.
Yes.
I'm disappointed because I thought it was very beatable, but is not going to participate today. Forever to Go, though, you have a 5-time runner-up, including 5 starts in a row before Trying Stakes Company and the Trying Turf. What is your take on Forever to Go?
Look, I think in this field you can't completely discount this horse, and she has some numbers that certainly make her a main contender. That's not something that can be denied in this spot, especially if you take a look at some of her races on dirt earlier on, where she finishes second to Naive Melody, even the one behind Miss American Pie, one with Fed Up with the Fed. Those are races that we're taking a look at. The one behind Fed Up with the Fed, who got a dream trip from out of the clouds after Forever to Go was forward and had that outside post in here. But she's taken a step backwards since then. Maybe didn't appreciate the muddy sealed track that she was on in that New York Stallion Series stakes. Maybe didn't appreciate not having Lasix in that spot. But at the same time, they've tried plenty of different options with this horse, and it just seems as though she doesn't have that killer instinct to win.
She's had so many opportunities. She's the fastest horse in the race. She has multiple races that are faster than anyone, but I seriously question, that will to win. I will say this, though, at least she's had a break now, and now she comes back and has had some time to mature and maybe grow up, get stronger, and maybe it's a different story today, but I'm going to take a different approach.
Yeah, I just wanted somebody who was a little bit more lightly raced and who was coming in off of some more recency, and I thought that Rare Society ran fine, getting back to the dirt for the first time. I like that this horse has shown some progressive improvement. The blinkers do go on. It's not exactly an overwhelmingly positive stat for maidens, with Linda Rice putting blinkers on for the first time. But at the same time, I thought this horse was always sort of out wider than a couple of others, and she's just had less opportunities than a horse like 3-9 Spine, who comes out of that same race that we're taking a look at.
Yeah, I went to 3-9 Spine. I actually like her quite a bit in this spot. I think that, having not raced since Belmont Saratoga, tried turf that day, gets back to dirt where she's run her better figures, and she took a big step forward. I thought improving, coming back November 6th off the bench here. She's going to be forward. She could beat speed from inside, and I think takes a move forward off that spot. I know David Duggan has not won yet at the meet. Terrific trainer that I always pay extra attention to his runners, and I just if you take a stand against a 7, I think she's the way to go.
Well, she's the one that's come back and already taken a step forward from her prior races. It's just that step forward may not be enough if we see one of Forever to Go's better races, but there's no guarantee. And then it just seemed like the other horse who at least had the experience and some numbers that somewhat fit was Will of a Woman, and I thought it was kind of guessing with everybody else.
Yeah. You got to be a little creative with some of the others. I mean, you were creative with Rare Society. We'll see what happens with that one with the equipment change. But yeah, I think it assists too with the 5 coming out for 3-9 Spine. There is, obviously the 7 could show some pace, but for the row, you've got to go with the 1, and I think with the 5 coming out, that really helps her.
Yeah, Red Velvet Cake favored last time, not going to play today, but I thought beatable as well.
Race 6 at a mile, 1-turn mile, $10,000 claiming race, and I'll let you start.
Yeah, I mean, we have Foxy Cara, who has become well-known on this circuit. We're actually going to take a look at her at Finger Lakes. She has that propensity to finish second or third, 3 for over 30 with 6 seconds and 9 third-place finishes. And while this was behind a 1-5 favorite in here, and she's a well-beaten second, Miss Lau was a much bigger price this day. She ends up being up there and close for that second-place finish. And there just didn't feel like there was a ton separating these two. We've seen these horses run plenty on this circuit. I have nothing against either of them in this spot for the $10,000 claiming tag, now coming to the bottom level here. But I just wanted somebody else who perhaps was one that hadn't been facing similar company in the past recently, but at least was dropping to the bottom here and coming in from out of town. Just wanted a new face, and that's sort of where I went to with the number 8, Divine Grace.
She got quick races too, but there were, I mean, I have her up there as well, but she's, Delaware, Parks, is that form going to translate? And speed's kind of her game. I'm a little concerned with the 2 in here, if she's able to get that lead or not. But yeah, she's very interesting. We'll see. I went to Miss Lau. The race we just showed you, she was right there with Foxy Kara. I mean, I don't understand why there's so much separating these two. And they're probably going to be when the race breaks from the gate in terms of odds. Also, Miss Lau, she has so many races that are just so much faster than Foxy Kara when you sort of go back into the races that she's run in the past. She had one, at Saratoga this summer that would blow this field away. She has multiple races prior to that are so much faster than anyone. And she's coming into the kind of latter half of the year. I know Beyer has that race too back at a 49 Beyer. Thorograph had her last two races exactly the same as fast, both faster than just about anyone's recent races in this field. She's paired up 11s in her last couple of starts. I think she's moving in the right direction. I like that effort from her last time out. And for me, price is going to be a lot better, obviously, than Foxy Kara.
I agree. And look, she hasn't shown that she doesn't have that will to win as much as a horse like Foxy Kara has over time.
But they're no win machine. Well, with the exception of the horse you went with. But got to prove that she can do it here in New York.
It's been a minute.
All right, race 7, 1 turn mile, New York Breds, this allowance optional claiming field. I thought one of the more difficult races on the entire card.
I agree completely. I think you could go a lot of different ways in here. I think there's many logical players, and I think the morning line also suggests that with nobody being a super short price.
All right, so you wound up where?
I actually went towards the outside with a horse getting back over to the dirt with Willing to Risk It All, who's a little bit more of a price in this spot, because I think that this is the opportunity to get a little bit creative with a horse who doesn't necessarily need the lead but can be up closer. It'll be interesting to see if they continue the tactics that they have with Cut the Cord of having him be either more forwardly placed or coming from off the pace, where we saw him have that success that he did in Saratoga, showing that new dimension and rallying from far off the pace to get the victory over a horse like Palace Boss, who he's going to be facing yet again in here. Cut the Cord has regressed since that effort, but at the same time, drawing the rail, I wonder if they're going to try to be a little bit more aggressive with him today. Then you can see he's really coming from out of the clouds here towards the outside at Saratoga. And I wondered if he was going to have a little bit of pace pressure from horses like Winstock, maybe even King's Leap or Russian Realm in here. I wondered how things are going to set up for him tactically with that rail draw. And he's just been a shorter price over his last couple of starts without getting the job done. So I wanted somebody that I thought was a little bit more intriguing, who had races to go back to against similar company, maybe could wake up switching back over to the dirt.
Okay. I mean,
Where'd you go?
What price? So it's taking a shot. I love it. That horse going to be how big a price, you think?
It's 12 to 1 morning line, but I don't think anybody's going to be very short in here. I think people will spread in this race.
You might get balloons on that horse. We'll see. This horse is, to me, it's incredibly difficult. I went back. I had such a hard time with this. I wound up with Winstock. This horse has just so much faster races than anybody in this field. It's not even close. This horse will come off the path. He's going to get a stalking trip in this spot. Had a win against this level, but it was a race that came off the turf. I mean, that was a while back. It was a wet track. It was back in June. But even the more recent races, this horse has run just about as fast as I know the Beyer numbers don't say it, but Thorograph Weiss has run just as fast. Superior competition. This horse faced Pentathlon, Sheriff Bianco a couple of starts back, Film Star. I mean, that's another league than what some of these others has faced, and ran well against some of those horses. Whittington Park as well. Jamie Rodriguez, too, is riding great.
Yeah, I agree with that completely. He's interesting, and he shouldn't be too far out of things early on. And I think the horse in here that you sort of wonder what to do with, that we both have in the mix, is Russian Realm, where he's getting that jockey switch to Flavien Prat. He's second off of a little bit of layoff, and he has some of the faster races to go back to within this field. The problem is that we just haven't seen them in a little while, and he was finishing second to a horse in Bourbon Chase who was not exactly a winning type, and I thought he had a pretty good trip in this spot.
Player, for sure, and anytime that rider hops aboard, you're going to take notice. That's a huge rider switch. Yeah, player. He's put together back-to-back. One of them was on the grass, but very good efforts where this horse seems like he's kind of moving forward back to some of his bigger figures, I think. We'll see. This is sort of a separator race in terms of the pick six, I think.
Yeah, I agree completely. I think it depends on your decisions or any strong feelings in the race prior to this, but then this one is likely a spread for many. And then I didn't want to completely dismiss a horse like King's Leap, a little bit interesting.
I thought, yeah, really. Glad you brought him up
here.
because I wanted to ask you about him. I don't know. He's won 5 of his last 7 starts. I just don't think he's Iron Dome. He was third too.
You know,
5 of the last 7, but none of them are fast enough to compete with the best races from Russian Realm. Even
The best races from
not
several
even
of these.
not even the best races from Winstock. The
Cut the
B plus
cord.
efforts from Winstock.
Yeah.
But he's interesting the way he just is continued to produce on the racetrack of late.
Absolutely. And he has numbers that aren't so far off to suggest that if somebody doesn't show up with one of their better performances, he could be a player in here. I like you, I didn't want to dismiss him completely, but I didn't have him as a major win contender.
But too, this is the time of year. He's a 3-year-old, late developing 3-year-olds. They start to make this improvement this time of year. Maybe he does make that move forward. Maybe we've already seen it. But figure-wise, results have shown it. But he needs to figure-wise move forward. That's why I thought the 10 was just a little bit intriguing.
Yeah.
He's too slow as well at this point. But third
Could
off
take
the
that
bench,
step
off a long
forward.
time away, lightly raced. I thought he could take another big step forward.
Yeah, and look, David has Alan Turing as one of the shorter prices in here at 6-1. Do you think that people are going to be betting this one off of some of the turf form, or did you see dirt for this horse with that couple of dirt works? I
Yeah,
just
I-
didn't want to include what I thought would be one of the shorter prices.
I'm with you. I'm
Yeah.
with you. Yeah.
All right.
Last race, one of my stronger. I think the 11 is a huge standout in here. I actually
He
loved
is.
the 8 going in. I thought he was the speed of the speed, and that was a big scratch. But I actually scratch hit into the 11, who I love anyway. I just think his races are so much faster than anyone in the spot, and he's been really going all the way back to June of this year. His last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, almost 6 or 7 starts, remarkably consistent for this level.
Yeah.
And if he even shows up close to what he's been, I love the outside draw for him. Chad Summers has been doing great. I think he's going to be really tough.
My problem with him is just that he doesn't win that often. And he has those 11 second place finishes with only the 2 victories, but they are putting the blinkers on. They're shortening him up a little bit in distance, and he does draw well towards the outside in here for the new connections that, as you mentioned, are doing very well to start the meet out so far. So I wouldn't leave him out of any multi-race wagers that I'm playing, but I just wonder if he's a horse that I don't want to put too much trust in, even though he has faced much better company overall, and he's still held his form while going to different barns.
And I just like the fact they're putting blinkers on to get a little more finish out of this horse, too, and focus late in a race. 11 seconds, 25 starts, that's fine. To me, demonstrably faster than anyone in this field. And I know Register is taking a big drop in here. 2 of the really fastest races that make that horse a major player in here are on wet tracks.
They are, and his last 2 races are not anywhere near fast
No.
enough to get the job done in here. I know that he was forward and ended up fading badly in both of those starts, but I think that it's possible with him that this drop is warranted, though he does get a rider change as well. Flavien Prat will be getting aboard this one. I wonder if it was a function of those wet tracks that produced some of his better performances, if maybe he's one that you want to be a little bit more cold on depending on price overall. But ultimately, I just wanted somebody who I was impressed with last time, who I don't think is anywhere near the best horse in this race as we take a look at Register on a wet track, like you said. I think Smile and Say Cheese is a little bit interesting, who had that awful trip last time and was still somehow able to overcome it and be much the best against lesser company. But I do think that he's one that at least showed that he could overcome something in that last start. And if you have those questions like I do about Frizzante's will to win, as well as the big drop for a horse like Register, he just seemed like the other horse that made sense in this spot. So I would probably use those 3 to close things out.
Okay. I do think, as I said, I originally had the 8. With the 8 coming out, I think the 3 actually becomes very interesting now.
Yeah.
Because I think this horse not going to be the speed of the speed in this race. And is taking a drop in class and is kind of sneaking here at 15-1 morning line with some sort of buried form.
You don't think Register's going to go?
I think this 3 is quicker. The 3
Okay.
has turf sprint speed.
Yeah, he does have that in the past.
Register's done the same ballpark in terms of pace. He has
Yeah.
route speed.
Yeah. Okay. I hear you on that. I think that it just depends if they use it, and I think that with Jamie Rodriguez, it's likely. And I think that he, coming out of the gate, he just didn't really seem as interested against tougher company last time, so I don't want to hold that against him in terms of tactics.
Yeah. I mean, even you go back to his Monmouth race, talking about the 3 still, that figure right in the ballpark with Smile and Say Cheese,
Oh, yeah,
with Complex
absolutely.
Music, with all these horses. Frizzante's the one to me that sort of stands out figure-wise. But, yeah, I mean, I guess when you look at 2 for 25 with 11 runner-ups, you do need to take it with a grain of salt. But interesting sequence.
For sure.
Good luck in the pick 6. And I got to go get ready for a show, I guess.
I guess. Are
You
you
could-
going to be able to see?
I'm going to do my best. I'm going to try and move the TV a little bit closer.
Yeah.
When I squint, I can actually see okay.
Okay.
But yeah, the pain has subsided at least
That's good.
with the medication I'm on. Get signed up. Play this pick 6 this afternoon. Get that $200 deposit match sign up bonus with the code BONUS200 at NYRABETS.com. I think it's an interesting card. I
agree.
thought that 7th race were the one where you probably, for me, it's different for everyone. Everyone sees races different. I had a lot of trouble with that race. I want coverage there.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that this is one where there might be a couple of leans, but I think there's at least 2 totally wide open races.
Do you usually play these pick 6 carryovers?
It depends on how strong I feel about the sequence,
Yeah.
what the carryover is. If I feel like I have a way to get around some very obvious horses, at least in 1 or 2 spots, I'll probably play today.
All right. Pick 6 begins race 3. Just shy of $80,000. $79,410 in that pool. It should get up there this afternoon. Good luck if you were playing. Friday contest. Don't forget Friday feeders. $40 buy-in. Cash and a seat to the Saturday contests. Go to NYRABETS.com/contest. Good luck to everyone participating. 10% exacta bonus for Aqueduct all day. Opt in at NYRABETS to take advantage. Get 10 times loyalty points as well at Gulfstream. And our show this afternoon, it's coming up soon. 26 minutes. I got to go.
Yeah.
12:30 to 4:30 on Fox Sports 2. Hope to see you there. Enjoyed it.
We had a good time.
Good luck today.
You bet with NYRABETS. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Download the NYRABETS app to play today and get a $200 deposit bonus. Watch live horse racing. Get expert picks. Boost your bankroll with weekly promotions and hone your handicapping skills with exclusive tips and tutorials. Download the NYRABETS app now. Sign up now to claim your